Welcome back to Just You and Me. I'm Donna.
I am Adam.
And we're recording late this week because I lost my voice.
Yeah, pretty selfish of you to spend your day with your family at Disneyland and then lose your voice.
Well, I
And
thought of you the entire time I was there. I was like, oh, that guy looks like Adam because he's wearing dorky Disneyland clothes.
which dorky clothes was he wearing? Because
All the dorky
I
clothes.
have so many. I have so much of it.
I've decided that Disneyland adults should be banned from Disneyland.
Wow. But they I don't think Disneyland would be happy because they spend so much money on admission and merch. No way it's happening.
Everyone at Disneyland, everyone except us, my family of 4, were in Disneyland merch
Oh,
of
of
some
course.
sort, whether it's a shirt, a sweatshirt, and the ears.
You had nothing on? Nothing Disney related?
Almost like as a protest.
Did you end up buying any of it before you?
We did not.
Wow.
Actually, Dylan was wearing a Disneyland shirt that he had from a prior trip.
Okay.
But other than that, no. And I thought to myself, maybe I'll buy something. And then I was like, am I insane? I can do this on Amazon.
That is true. I mean, yes. The one thing that is so ridiculous, obvious, not the one thing, one of the many things is the pricing there. And the fact that the ridiculous amount of money that you have to spend just to get a fucking t-shirt. Sorry with the F word. When you could just go on Amazon or go on any of these sites and just buy something that is Disney licensed anyway. And it's, a third of the cost.
Another thing I found very, very strange. Well, there were so many things, but another thing I found very strange were the women and men that were dressed in very fancy Disney clothes. Like there was a lot of women in almost like 50s gear. Like they had like beautiful lipstick and their hair done in a very themed or timely outfits. And they were wearing almost like they were in a movie.
Yeah.
But they weren't characters. I mean, it was really, I felt like people really took it real seriously. But we had a great time. We did the park hopper. We did a bunch of rides and I screamed. One thing I definitely learned about myself is I am a screamer on roller coasters and I can't not.
Was there one that you screamed the most on?
Space Mountain really got me.
Okay.
I'll tell you my experience when I was a kid, I was scared of roller coasters, like young, very scared of roller coasters. And then I got past my fear and I started going on roller coasters. Not like I've gone on a couple, upside down ones, but I've never been one of those really fear driven roller coaster people, but I've done basic roller coasters. So I got over it for a while and then I reverted and I went back into my fear zone. But Oliver, who's my birthday boy, he went on Space Mountain with his friend last time and he said, "Mom, I promise you it's not scary. It's so fun." And I said, "I'll do it for you." Now, we had all those lightning passes.
Yeah.
And we were able to kind of like finagle our way through the park so that we didn't have to wait in lots of lines. And this helped tremendously. So before we knew it, we were on Space Mountain. Like I didn't really have a choice. I just kind of like got myself there and I was like, "Oh, I'm going on the ride."
Mm-hmm. And?
I screamed. I said so many bad words.
Oh, you see? Even you say bad words.
I said F you the entire time on the ride.
Who are you screaming F you to?
My kids, the ride.
Wow, cussing out your kids.
I did. I said, "Dylan, is it over?" Every 5 seconds. I screamed mommy the entire time.
Mommy. Now
Like 100 times.
Let's dig into that one.
No.
Why are we yelling mommy when your mommy was not with you?
I don't know, but my mom,
Yes.
when she's like feeling scared or whatever, she always says, "Imale, imale, ima." So it's like it comes in the family.
Okay, so it's just interesting.
I know.
Mommy and Imale.
But we went on Tiana.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
And?
Well, the entire time I was anxious about the drop. So like I kind of zoned out from the whole ride in its own. I got soaking wet.
Yes, you do on that ride. They made it, by the way, they made it worse.
In terms of water?
Yes.
Everyone was drenched. Like not one person got off that ride without getting wet. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I went with Josh Smith, our friend, we all got soaked.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really fun day. Like we had a great time, walked 10 miles, like tons. And I didn't really, I always watch these things on TikTok where people go to Disneyland and then they just like hit up all the food and they eat all these really
Yeah.
cool things. I never do that. I don't ever know what to do food
Well, that's
wise.
they're there constantly, so they have the ability to do some of it and then come back and do it again. You're
They
there
go on one
once,
ride and then they
yeah,
eat all the food.
but they have season passes where they have time to come back and film the content. So
Maybe.
for you, you're not gonna be able to do all that fun stuff in one day. It's not gonna happen.
So I had a pickle.
Is that the only thing you ate the entire day?
No, like my kids ate burgers and stuff, so I would
Okay.
like snack on their food.
I should have given you some pointers on the food and the drinks
Okay, next time.
next
Next
time.
time, like in 2 years.
You want to know what I did?
Sure.
I so here's my wedding ring. Okay,
You're married.
I'm married. Yeah,
Mazel.
thank you, appreciate it. So quick little story. I'd say about 2, 3, maybe 4 months ago, I had my ring on, and I couldn't get it off. I could not take my ring off. It was
You know
not.
what they say?
What do they say?
You gained weight?
I'm getting there. So I could not take it off to the point where like I was like pulling on it enough that I started like scabbing. Like it got real bad.
Did you try all the oils, soaps, everything?
Everything. I went on Reddit to ask questions. I like jewelry Reddit because of course Reddit
Did you
is
see my
everything.
hate page when you were there?
I always look at your hate page every time on Reddit because these people are insane humans. Great. Now I'm going to end up on your snark page by saying that. I went on Reddit to look. I went every YouTube video, like taking floss, butter, freezing your hand, heating, everything you can think of.
Floss.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
through
floss
it?
underneath it. Yeah, couldn't get it done. So I had to go into Lauren and I. We have a jeweler that we go to in Sherman Oaks. So we went to
How
the.
Jewish of you.
Of course, I have somebody. If anybody asks me if they need, I have someone.
You have someone for everything.
Yes. So we go in, and she's like, "Yeah, we can. I can try to get it off. If it doesn't work, then we have to saw it off." And this sawing off is the
Is it
scariest.
Elon Musk style?
Elon with his chainsaw. No, thank God, I wouldn't trust that man next to my ring
I
finger.
wouldn't trust the man ever.
Yes, that's true. Um, except with making cars that we like.
I like the car.
I like the car as well. I don't like his saw abilities. No, what they do is they have to heat up the saw or like whatever they're using to make it cut through. So not only are you like fearing that you're going to be cut, but it starts heating up. Like the metal
Oh
starts
my
to.
God. Yes, because it's on your finger when they're cutting
Right,
it. Like you can't
right.
take it off for them to cut. Oh
So
my
they're
God.
cutting it. So and like they're like So basically, I what you said is correct. I gained weight. I gained
Adam.
enough weight where I just couldn't get my ring off. And I would love to say the end of the story is I lost all that weight, so now the ring fits. That is not the end of the story. The end of the story is I had to go back, and they just made it larger for me.
Did they have to like re-melt it or whatever they
Yeah,
do?
so it's platinum, right? So they had to just go back and. By the way, platinum of what they were telling me is a lot harder to cut through. So I'm like, great, this is just a fantastic day for me where I'm getting sawed and heated up, where platinum's harder. So anyway, yes, they added more platinum and shaped it to what it is because there's like little ridges on it, and they had to put it back together, and I had to pay for that.
Did you go extra big so that you have more room at
Yeah,
Disneyland?
what's going to happen is we're getting into summer months, and it is going to get hotter. So, but right now, it's very easy to take off, and I just hope that summer it'll be relatively easy. It's not going to be that. I don't
Well,
plan on gaining more weight, by the way, Don. I don't plan on it.
well, also, it's summer months, so maybe you should consider, like getting into a summer bod.
Yes, I should always consider getting a summer bod, whether it's summer or not, Donna. I should.
Somewhere, somewhere.
Yes, yes.
It's always somewhere. You could always be in Australia.
I would rather not. Not as a Jew right now. I don't want to be in Australia. Thank
Not
you very
after
much.
Marnie's
Not
conversation
after
with us.
Marnie scared the shit out of me about that country. Thank you, Marnie.
I truly, I'm sorry to hear that. I have my original wedding ring, which I upgraded after 10 years, but my original I don't wear anymore. And if I do put it on, it's incredibly tight. And actually, I have not gained weight since then. Like, in fact, I've lost weight since my wedding day, like my actual weight. But the ring itself is so tight on me. So maybe there is just something that happens in your body
I
that
think
as you
it's
grow.
I think it's a combo of that and me just gaining a shit ton of weight. So
For you, I think it was that day at the festival.
that is
Remember,
true.
you said you were there all day long drinking, all day long. I think one day. And you also told us that Lauren makes all that food. And then you had a Domino's party.
Oh God, the calories are piling up as you speak.
I'm worried.
Don't worry. I'm past worried at this point.
Speaking of food, one of our favorites online, this Chris Cares None guy, that the Babka King.
I've been following this whole journey.
How fun is it to follow him in Israel?
I love the fact that he's there and like just hearing about how when he got there, like even like the first day, how amazing he's felt in terms of the people being everyone there being so like the first thing he said. I remember he's like one of the first things I noticed is that not everyone's white. People have this weird thing
They're
that
convinced that it's
because the
just white
Jews
people.
are white and that we are a very colorful bunch. And so when he goes there, he notices not everyone's white. There's so many different shades, and it's not just white. And I thought that was like, I guess because we're so close to it that it's just so obvious to us. But when you're caught up in this whole media train and everything that's going
You
on,
don't see it.
and you don't hear it, and it's not a narrative that people want to talk about because it doesn't go into the Free Palestine narrative because they want it to be about the white oppressor, but Israel's neither the oppressor or white, so it goes against everything that they're trying to get.
No, Israel has a massive Ethiopian community.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, there's people from all over the world that have migrated to Israel and moved to Israel. And there's people there of all religions and all nationalities. There's so many Asian Jews. There's so many Korean. I mean, there's so many people of all different.
I don't know if
Um,
there's so many Korean Jews, but that's okay.
there's literally. Do you know that in Korea there's a lot of Jews?
I know. I just like that you said there
I
was
actually
so.
follow a Korean Jew account.
Oh,
It's called That Korean Jew. So
okay.
she's the only one.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's not that many.
The Korean
Duh.
Jew, the only Korean. And I remember there was like a time where there was a lot of they were holding a lot of like rallies and protests in Korea. And it was amazing to see all these Korean people singing Hebrew. Like
Yeah,
it's so cool to see. But anyway, so yes, he is there on some sort of a missionary trip. I have no idea. Like, I don't want to call it a missionary trip. I have no idea what you would even call it. But it's a trip. I imagine a lot of these Israeli companies are hosting these trips to bring people that have never been to Israel to Israel.
creative.
So
Yeah,
Jews or non-Jews. And just to kind of increase tourism and also just to educate.
yeah,
There's nothing like actually seeing it with your own eyes. I always say that. I'm so grateful that we were able to go right before October 7th because I don't know if my husband or even my kids would have had like a connection to it for
right.
October 7th. Like,
That's
don't you
true.
feel, has Lauren ever been?
No, and it's one of these things where like we continue to talk about, and she
Yeah.
always wants to go, especially she has such a connection to food and Jewish
Oh
food and
my
Middle
God.
Eastern
She would love
food,
it.
and and now like even before October 7th, she said she wanted to go. But I think no matter what, when you live in the US and you always, even before October 7th, you hear about all the shit that happens, possible terrorist attacks and all that stuff, you get a little skittish if you're not used to that type of either living there or visiting there a lot. It may kind of scare people from going. But now it's a little bit, it's going to take a lot probably. to
You know
get
what's
where you're
interesting
going.
though is that you keep hearing that, like people keep saying that, but everyone that I know that is there and goes there, and my mom is there right now. She comes back on Sunday. She just texted me actually. She just sent me a WhatsApp like as I'm here.
Nice.
But it's really incredible. Um, every single person I know that is there right now says like there's never a better time to come because the even though of course the country is in the middle of a war and still in a tragic time because they're still missing hostages and they're still struggling from that and they're still going through all of the emotions from all of that. It's like almost like the spirit of the country has it's like being Jewish. Like you almost connect more with your people because of it.
Yeah.
Now, there is a lot of unrest in the country, within the country because of the war, just like there is here in America with politics,
Mhm.
Not everyone is happy. It's not like everyone's kumbaya about the war. In fact, I watched a this is like gonna be funny because it connects with my reality TV loving,
Oh,
but
here we go.
on Real Housewives of New York, first few seasons, there was this woman, Jill Zarin.
And by the way,
And
I did watch the first few seasons, so I do know Jill.
do you know Jill Zarin?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Love Jill.
So Jill, yes. So Jill Zarin is like your quintessential New York Jew. Love. Her daughter, who was on the show as a teen,
Hmm.
Allie, is now in her 20s and she has been like a very outspoken pro-Israel Jew on her TikTok and her Instagram. And she just went to Israel for 10 days on this. She calls it like a mission trip. I don't specifically know for what reason she was there, but exactly for the same reasons. But she knows a lot of people there. She clearly
Right.
has a lot of friends and she was partying a lot in Tel Aviv in addition to going and doing all the educational stuff. She went
To
to the
be in your 20s and
Oh my
party in
god.
Tel Aviv.
It literally looks so
Yeah,
fun.
I'm sure.
Um, but she also went to the Nova Festival. She met with a hostage. She that was there for 505 days. Like she really, really like got immersed into everything. She experienced sirens. She went through the whole process. But she did a TikTok the other day and she explained. She said, it's just like when you're here in America, how the country is so divided, right? 50% of the country hates the government right now, and 50% of the country is happy with the government. Everyone's loud on social media. There's protests all the time out in the streets. Like that's exactly what it's like there in Israel. But the spirit is bonded in the fact that everyone's very pro being Jewish. People are happy to be Israeli. People are
Yeah.
proud of being from Israel. You can't say really the same here in America. I sadly think that there's a lot of like not proud of being American
Oh, you
voices
think?
lately.
I mean, would you say it's kind of close to how our country felt after 9/11? Because I do remember after 9/11, America, like no matter Bush, that was during George W. Bush, no matter what, if you're Republican, Democrat, anything in between, everybody was so rah rah America. I mean, American flags on cars everywhere. And I would only have to, I mean, if I'm thinking about the closest that would feel to what you're describing in Israel. That's the closest I can see, and it was such a proud time for everybody. A terrible, terrible thing happened to this country, but
Mhm.
we all rallied behind the fact that we were American and we were not going to let this continue to happen. So it is interesting and it makes sense that what's going on, but it is interesting that what you're saying because it is a little bit different because I feel like I could go there and not having, lived in Israel and since we were 16 years old, I would have that instant connection to Israel um, just because I'm Jewish. So,
Yeah.
well, now we have to put together some kind of tourist campaign to get Lauren to agree to go to Israel.
Yeah, I mean, I would go my son wants to go so badly. I would go in a heartbeat. I can't go this year obviously because just financially. That's another thing. It's so expensive.
Yeah,
It is so expensive to go to Israel, and that's the unfortunate thing. I wish it was more affordable to go cuz there's not a lot of airlines that go there. So like you're really you're really what's the word? Like you're limited
yeah,
with how to get there. So a lot of people have to fly. What is it? Just El Al and maybe
Hello.
America. And there's maybe just like one other airline that goes there.
Are they still doing birthright and those types of things for at least for younger
I think
kids?
so.
Okay, so that's good. At least you get people who haven't been there before to experience it. But I think they stopped doing it for a little bit right after October
Well,
7th.
my kid's school usually sends the eighth graders to Israel
Oh,
on
that's
a
right.
trip. And then, of course, after October 7th, they paused it. I'm hoping that by the time my son is in eighth grade, he goes into seventh grade, that maybe it will be back. But
Who knows?
I think it's too much of a risk as a school trip. Like, it's one thing if you want to go with your family, but as a school trip for a minor, like, I think schools are too scared to like bring a whole school of kids, at this time.
Yeah.
And it's also like traumatizing maybe for a kid when there's sirens. Like, it's one thing if you live there and this is your normal, but can you imagine taking a kid who's already an anxious kid like mine, right? And then even if they know that there may be sirens and they'll be safe, but just to know that like you could be walking down the street or at a restaurant and then a siren goes off, like that could traumatize a child.
Yeah, I don't even think that just limited it to children. I think it could traumatize people. I think if I was in it, I wouldn't be traumatized because I think it's just kind of um and it's some people I work with as well who live in Israel, like I've heard it when I'm on calls. So it's not like it's something that, but I could see it happening with, people who've never been there. Like I can imagine Lauren may, if she all of a sudden hears a siren, it could be traumatizing. Could
But
be
as adults, at least you're like very aware it's a
that's true.
possibility. And, Chris, this guy that we're speaking of, who has never been to Israel. I don't even know if he really knew a lot of Jewish people before October 7th, or before, I should say, 2 years ago when
Right.
he started eating babka. He's like a food blogger, basically, like a food Instagrammer. And he started eating Jewish food, and people started sending him Jewish food. And now all of a sudden, he's really, really ingrained with the Jewish community, and he loves the Jewish community, and they love him back. So he's there, and he said, "I've been in the siren twice." He goes, "It's interesting. Everyone's calm in the safe rooms because they've been doing this now for years, even before October 7th.
Yeah.
And now it's more frequent. They're calm. They can laugh because it's such a part of life. I mean, it happens, if not daily, it happens at least weekly."
Yeah. It is interesting to hear his point of view because he's like, everyone's so calm. Everyone knows what they're doing. I didn't feel, it's
Scared.
like I felt, yeah, he said he felt safe because, I mean, and the whole idea of the sirens is to make sure you're safe, right? Is to, that's the whole purpose of them. So I think Israel has their shit together where it's like, oh, we can just do what we need to do when the sirens go off and then go back to regular life after
Like, I wish we had sirens for earthquakes
that.
and a safe room,
We can build one.
like a padded room.
Well, I wasn't a padded room. I build like one of those. We can be preppers and then build like one of those rooms
Sounds like
where.
a hell life.
Well, listen, you say that now, but when the zombies attack us,
Now we have zombies?
listen. Of course we do. Have you not seen The Last of Us, the TV show? They're
No.
zombies. They're
No.
mushroom zombies that are attacking you.
How can I watch The Last of Us when I'm watching Karen Reed's trial?
Yeah, it's a little different.
There's no time.
There, I guess. Is there? How long is it? Okay, I'm not getting into your.
Well, now Love Island is on every day. So,
Okay.
like, now I really don't have time. Now I'm in Fiji when I'm not in the Karen Reed trial. I'm on an island watching random men and women make out.
Well,
The
that's
important
fun.
things.
That's fun. That'll take your brain away from Israel.
Honestly, we really need stupid TV shows every once in a while to just distract you.
I have one that I watched, one of these reality TV shows that I started watching during the pandemic. And
What?
it's so dumb.
I can't wait.
It's 90 Day Fiance.
Stop it. You're one of them.
Yeah, oh, yes. I'm not like one of them where I go crazy and like dive into every single spin-off show. I
There's
just
so many
watch.
of them.
I can't keep track. I just watched the main one, and then I hadn't watched. This season popped up like in my queue, and I hadn't watched it before. And I had first of all, they're 2-hour episodes. It's a little much. Okay, So I'm sitting there for 2 hours watching these idiots because they're all idiots.
Yes.
And I scream at the TV for the 2 hours straight because I'm like, you guys are the dumbest people.
Yeah.
Like every decision you make goes completely against common sense.
Is each episode one couple?
No, it's all
It's
interspersed
mixed.
like five, like 4 or 5 different
Yeah.
couples. And it is the most aggravating, but it's funny and hilarious and just ridiculous. And this is how ridiculous the show is for me. Like once they get to the point where they're at their wedding, I just fast forward through the wedding scenes. I don't care about them getting married. All I care about is their arguments and them fighting with each other. That's all I care about.
I'm not surprised after the way we started our call
Oh,
today.
well, we did fight before the call. Yes, we did.
Well, first of all, I'm with you on the fast forwarding through weddings because when I watch Love is Blind, I don't care about the wedding.
No one cares.
I'm just like, are you saying yes or no? That's all I care
That's
about.
it, right.
Number two, we did fight before we got on the call. Well, we didn't look without getting into detail. Our country is a mess right now because our president and Elon Musk are having a bitch fight on Twitter.
It is a reality TV show in that's happening on Twitter right now.
And I don't like it. It makes me feel very uncomfortable for our country.
Yeah, and I think when we first started the argument or whatever it was, I said I was enjoying watching it, but I understand it could be. It turns out it could be something that's not a good thing for our country. But I'm going to see how the whole thing plays out before I make that complete judgment.
I think Elon looks bad right now as it is. I mean, Donald Trump is always going to be played in the media as the unhinged, crazy president. So, like, he can't ever look worse than he's already been looking. Elon Musk has looked horrible because I think he connects with Donald Trump. Like, since Elon Musk has partnered up with Donald Trump, the media has turned on him, right? Like, the world has turned on Elon Musk since he became Donald Trump's, like, partner in crime.
Yeah.
Before he became Donald Trump's partner in crime, the world loved Elon Musk. Now that he's turning on Donald Trump, the question is, will the left welcome him back with open arms and like forget about the fact that they thought he was a Nazi, forget about the fact that they thought he was, the worst person in the entire world and he was putting his hands all over their personal stuff and like getting involved in their budget or whatever the hell they were worried about, the dictator, and they were like protesting like 7 people outside of every Tesla.
By the way, all those 7 people were over the age of 60.
That was the craziest,
the weirdest thing
chapter of our country was when 8 people were protesting outside of every Tesla.
But why were they all over the age of 60? They were all old people. If you looked, it was very bizarre.
Most people that I see in LA protesting against Donald Trump and Elon Musk are old white people.
These old
they all look like they flew in from Portland, Oregon.
Maybe they did.
They all look like old hippies.
Maybe they are. Maybe they don't know what to do. They've been on an acid trip since Woodstock, and they continue to go through it.
Wait, it's so interesting. Why do you think that's the category?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's such a weird kind of intersect of why those two met. But it's the way it is. It's just
because you would think that the older, like hippie style people would like the Elon Musk because of the electric vehicles.
I guess it goes hand in hand, but
they felt like he turned on them.
He's also a billionaire, and there's a lot of hatred towards
rich
billionaires.
people.
There's a lot of hatred towards billionaires and rich people. So that could be part of it too.
I just know that as a Jewish person, Elon Musk caused me in my career, in my business, a lot of damage on the day of the election. I'm not joking.
I think, was it the election or was it the inauguration?
Inauguration, sorry. I still am reaping. I'm still feeling the devastation.
Let's use words we know.
I'm still feeling the devastation that I got from his, gesture that looked like, and I say look like because I still to this day don't know if it really was intentional or not, because who does? That Nazi symbol, because I got, as someone, as you guys know, I am not shy of talking about the fact that I'm Jewish, and I'm not shy of fighting for Jewish rights and standing up, for anti-Semitism, people were very, very angry with me that I didn't really loudly condemn Elon Musk that day. But I didn't feel comfortable doing it because I really wasn't confident that it was like a flat out Nazi move. I was like, it didn't look good and it didn't feel good, but I can't say confidently that Elon Musk is a Nazi. Like that, I don't know. I really struggled with it, but I wasn't happy about it. And I didn't like Elon Musk's response to it.
Yeah. And my issue with it, without getting too political, is that I think what happened is, whether it was that or not, the left ran with it as saying it was anti-Semitic,
They
and they were
liked
using
it.
that. they
Yeah.
they liked it because what happens now is, when the left talks, especially the extreme left, when they talk about free Palestine, they talk about all these things, they claim that they're not anti-Semitic, right? So you see someone like Elon doing that. Now they're going to, like, oh, I'm going to take this and say, why is Elon being anti-Semitic? We're not the anti-Semitic ones. Elon and his cronies are anti-Semitic. They're the ones you should really fear. So I think a lot of it was kind of the left taking it and trying to make it a bigger thing. As you said, I don't know what he did, if it was a Hell Hitler or not, don't know. But it, especially for you, I can imagine the shit that you had to go through with your other podcast.
It was really crazy, and I felt and it wasn't just me because I saw a lot of other content creators that are Jewish also struggle with this. Like I saw it, especially like on Reddit and stuff. I got it really bad on Reddit, and then a lot of other people I saw get it too. It was almost like the Jews got it worse than anyone else. The Jews were like the Jewish personalities online needed to like take a stand against Elon, and if we didn't, we were failing as human beings. And it was so unfair. I felt like it was so unfair. It was, especially because this is a it was like it was a gesture that if you really slowed down other speakers, you saw so many other speakers do a similar gesture.
Yeah.
Elon Musk was like being looked at with such a microscope because he's Elon Musk, and Donald Trump also. Like this is just kind of the world we live in, right? Um and I've learned in the last 600 days since October 7th that the media is really not to be trusted. And anytime, and I'm not joking, just last week, this is my husband, this is Lance. He's not Jewish, but he surely is pro-Israel and lives with Jews, so he understands exactly what we're dealing with. He's watched October 8th with me now because we
Okay.
bought it the other day and he watched it. He understands the media, he understands this. And still, Lance, this was the day of the this was the day of Boulder, which we'll get into. That morning, we wake up and he looks at his phone when he was here in LA. He looks at his phone, he's like, Jesus. And I said, what? And he goes, Israel kills 26 people at the
Yeah.
border in the line of, and I said, who's writing that? And he goes, ABC News. And I was like, I don't believe it. And he's like, babe, it's ABC News. And I was like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And then he continues and he goes, oh, it's from Hamas health, Gaza's health ministry. And I'm like, there you go. And I'm like, you can't trust the goddamn news. You
I
can't
like how you
trust the news
said
anymore.
I like how you said Hamas health
It,
industry, because
it
that's what
really
it
is.
is. I know.
But but what I'm saying about the news, and we can get into the Boulder thing because I know we want to talk about that, but I'm now at the place, or I guess I was, with like Elon and Donald Trump. And look, I just finished, I'm still reading Jake Tapper's book about Biden. It's like, you can't trust anything because I trusted them and
Mm-hmm.
you trusted these people. And like right now, what we're seeing with Donald Trump and Elon Musk is like the only solace you can take is at least they're doing it in public and not behind closed doors and pretending everything's fine, like
Yeah,
past administrations did.
it's true.
At least they're like putting it all out there. I don't know how healthy that is for the American public, but at least we're not, pretending like everything's fine, and then they're beating each other up behind the scenes. I don't
Well,
know.
who knows what did happen behind the scenes? I mean, obviously this is happening over Twitter, but I have no idea what happened
He
to
had a
him.
black eye. Remember Elon Musk had a
I
black
know.
eye?
He said it was his kid.
Bull.
Who knows?
Someone probably beat him up.
Yes.
Do you think
Yes.
Donald threw a punch?
No, I can't imagine him throwing a punch without falling over. I just feel like he has that body type where he would just do it and just fall over.
Who do you think in the White House threw up? Carolyn Levitt.
Ooh, could be.
Um,
I don't know who could
Speaker
be.
Johnson.
It wouldn't be Rubio. He seems like a wimp.
Um, I don't really know a lot of other people.
Bondi. Who could it be? I don't know.
Oh, maybe Rome, that woman from the Homeland Security woman
No, no,
that
yeah,
always wears a
no.
hat.
Yeah, that could be it.
She seems
That could
like
be
a
it.
badass.
Yeah, she seems like the one that don't fuck with me or I'm gonna
Well,
throw a punch.
speaking of her, you know, the whole idea of illegal immigrants being in America and pass extended visas, right?
Hmm.
We've been talking about this in the news. It's huge in the news. This has always been an issue, getting illegal immigrants out of America. But now, since Donald Trump is president, obviously it's a highlighted issue and they're putting a lot of attention on this, even though Obama did it, Biden did it. Every president has done this. Okay. The point is, it's always been the focus has been mostly on like, a lot of Hispanic
Yes.
immigrants, da da da. But this last week, this horrible experience happened. What day was it? Sunday?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was Sunday. It was
Okay.
Sunday because that's the day that they always do. Every week they do in Boulder
Yes.
this walk. So, do you want to explain what happened?
Yeah. So basically, and I just remember I was sitting there. Just I think it was on Sunday. I was doing some work off to the side, and Lauren, we had the kids in the room, and Lauren's like, "Oh my god!" Same thing that like Lance said to you. It's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "What is going on?" It's like, "Did you see what happened in Boulder?" I'm like, and my heart sinks because when you hear that, the first thing my brain goes to is something with Jews because
Of
in
course.
the last month we've had. Are you opening a beer? Oh, okay.
Yes, for this story, I
I
need a
don't know if I'm
drink.
boring you that much that you have to start drinking. Um, no, I with everything that's going on, Jeremy Shapiro, the what happened to his house, where
Did
you
you
know,
say who, Shapiro?
no, Jeremy Shapiro. Did I say
Josh. Jeremy Shapiro is our doctor.
my pediatricians? Jesus Christ, God.
He's both of our pediatricians
He is our pediatrician, right? Okay,
and Dave's.
is he? Oh, interesting. That's right. That is right. All right, Josh Shapiro. What happened to his house during Passover? Then you have what happened in D.C. With the beautiful couple that were executed. So of course my mind is going to go to something regarding Judaism. So the first thing I do is I go online. I go on Twitter because even though he's a weirdo, it's still good for news and getting like those first second feeds. You see that there's this one. Um, it was a reel that was just people yelling about a fire and being people that were there was some kind of people were being lit on fire. You didn't know too much about it, but you knew it was happening at Boulder to Jews. And then as the day progressed, you start finding out a lot more about what's going on. So you find out that there in Boulder there is a group of Jews who are always trying to just peacefully, I wouldn't even say march, but peacefully kind of sit there and hold solidarity with the hostages that are still being held in Israel and make sure people understand that there's still hostages in Israel. And what happened is a crazy, and I'm going to curse, I'm sorry, a crazy fucking asshole, a lunatic comes out there and starts literally throwing Molotov cocktails at these people. And there's kids around, there's elderly people around, and he's doing this, and at the same time talking about free Palestine, talking about Palestine will be free, and he's literally just setting people on fire. And all
Yeah,
of
he's
these,
saying all of the, the typical. wordings, right? Like kill the Zionists,
Yes.
I want to kill the Zionists kill children, all of the big keywords.
Yes, all of the buzzwords, if you will, and he and there's all this different footage that comes out, and you hear him screaming all these things, and then you find footage, of course, of people on the ground who have been burned. And one of the other things we find out, which is probably the most horrific thing, is someone who survived, an 80-year-old who survived the Holocaust, was there to march and was a victim of this terrorist attack. And to think, and this happened obviously during October 7th, where there were Holocaust survivors there when this happened. You think that you go through all of that to escape a horrific, um, thing that went on, like the Holocaust, just to come back and feel like you're safe and have to deal with Jew hatred again at the age of 80. It's so depressing and so scary and so fucked up. And what makes it even worse for me, and we can get into talk about this, is that I still feel like there's no outcry about anti-Semitism. There's a constant narrative that this was not an attack against Jews. This was an attack against anti-Zionists.
It's against Israel.
Zionists, sorry. It's
Israel.
attack against Zionists. Attack against Israel. And it's like, it's not true. It is obviously an attack against Jews. And that's what really, like, obviously the attack is horrifying, but the nail in that coffin is the fact that there's still no outcry from other people other than Jews to say that this was an anti-Semitic act. We have this really terrible amount of anti-Semitism where now it's turning into violence. And we've just had these three big things happen in our country. Not Jeremy Shapiro, Josh Shapiro. And it is, I don't know what it's going to take. And I said this to Lauren, my wife, Lauren, and I hate that I said this, but I said it because it scares me. It's like, what is it going to take? Like, are a few more, like, do we need a few more of these things to happen before people's heads start fucking realizing that this is not about Israel, it's about Jews? Like, what is it going to take? Do we need like a massacre to happen? Like, how many people have to die or be injured before this actually happens and people start understanding that we feel fucking scared? And it's like, even what Michael Rappaport says, because obviously he's always wacky and has some great shit to say, but he's like, I looked at his, I think it was either that day or the next day, he had a reel where he was just staring at the camera, and just the only not comment, but the only thing he had in his post, it said, "The cavalry ain't coming," and that's what scares me, because we have to just fight for ourselves, and we're a small fucking group of people to fight for ourselves. So that's why I always say, and I say it on this podcast all the time, is that where are our allies? And our allies are so important. We need more of them. But maybe he's right. Maybe they're not coming.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean, you said so much there. Obviously, every word that you said is very important. The actual attack was horrendous. I can't imagine seeing that footage and seeing it happen to Black people or Asian people or Indian people or any other kind of people, especially elderly people. This is not young, screaming, marching, protesting people, like loud, in your face people, and then someone got really mad and like threw a fire at them. This is older. I mean, we didn't see them before, but come on, these are 80-year-olds. It's not
Yeah.
like they were, aggressive. This is an organization that is around the country because I have friends that do it in Florida.
Oh, interesting.
It's called Run for Your Lives or Walk for Your Lives or something like that. I think you can do run or walk. Obviously, these people were walking. They're very older,
Yes.
they're in the older category. And they meet there every single Sunday since October 7th. They've met there every single Sunday. So this is an organized event. This man knew. He was dressed as a landscaper. He came with a plan. He burned himself on fire because he's messy and not a pro because he's an idiot. And he wasn't thinking it through because he has a family of 5 kids or some shit. And none of them have, the right to be here in America because none of them are legal citizens here. And of course, that's a whole other story of what's going to happen to them now. But the point here is that you go to do something which you think makes sense and is not political, which is fight for innocent lives being held hostage, right? In a very safe environment, Boulder, Colorado. I mean, if you could think of anywhere that like promotes peace and love
Yep.
and like hippie, right? Like Boulder.
Very outdoorsy, very
This
much.
is like marijuana, pot. Like I remember going to Boulder when I was in my 20s. Like it's like people like hike and like drink juice and
Yeah.
smoke pot. Like this is not a scary zone of life, right? And so obviously these people were not scared for their lives when they were there, and they all came from the same congregation, the same temple. But you're right, the biggest and the most concerning part about this was the reaction from the world, reaction from the communities around, and the reaction straight away, which was false flag. A lot of comments like that. This was planned. This was an inner job. This was a Jew. This guy looks like a Jew. Muhammad Solomon from Egypt looks like a Jew.
Oh,
I
so
mean, it's
Jewy.
like, what? They felt the same way, by the way, about the guy in the
Yeah.
temple. I mean, the Jewish event that
Yeah.
killed the couple. Everyone's a Jew all of a sudden, you know? But this is going to be the narrative also, always. The question is, how loud are these people online? How real are they in reality in terms of real life? And that's the real question. It's like, I try so hard to want to wrap my head around like, how real is this online versus what's really in real life? The good thing is that we have people in our government who spoke out immediately. I mean, we have idiots like AOC who come out there and do the same shit where it says like anti-Semitism is never
Yeah.
tolerated, should never be tolerated. Yet she cries when the Iron Dome is, funded.
Like when we funded Iron.
So
So
we have we have
fucking
people
deserving.
like her who hates Jews.
Hmm.
Okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
And Ilhan Omar, people like them, but there's people that have our back from leadership roles. And then there's always, of course, allies that came to me at least and spoke in my DMs. And I saw a lot of people that spoke on it. What scared me, and I know that this is like a small little world on Threads, but Threads is so scary because even Jews that speak up just as a Jew saying, being a Jew is scary and like whatever, the comment section back to them. And then people that said, I stand with my Jewish community. I'm not Jewish, but I stand with the Jewish community. The comment section back. What's scary is it's so evil that it's going to scare people from ever wanting to speak again.
Yeah.
Because it scares people like us from wanting to speak. And you and I are pretty steadfast in our Judaism. So if we weren't, and that was our response, I would be like, ooh, I don't know if
Yeah.
I want to say anything again.
Yeah. My fear too, and you bring up an interesting point about how big is this just online? Do we feel like this is like really what people think that are are they just being online, and are they just making comments, and is anti-Semitism that big? Is it that huge? Outside of the online realm. So I was looking at Reddit, of course, Reddit, but I was looking at the Jewish subreddit. I love the Jewish
Reddit
subreddit.
hates Jews other than the Jewish
The
subreddit
Jewish subreddit is
because it's
fantastic.
incredibly left, by the way. Reddit is incredibly
By the
left
way,
wing.
the Howard Stern subreddit's pretty Jew liking too, so that's good.
Well, but
I'm on that too.
he loves
I know,
Jews.
I know. I'm just saying. But yes, Reddit is incredibly left, and I've gotten into many stupid arguments in there. But if you go to the Jewish subreddit, it's very good to be in the same, the having the same talk with people. Um, there was somebody who posted. I got to find the graph, and I'll post it on here. It was basically talking about how many people um, in different countries, how many people support Israel, how many people don't support Israel. They think Israel's good. I forgot exactly what it was, but the jarring part about this was that in the U.S., you can see that there are more people who think Israel should be our ally and they should be good. They are good. They are a a good country to associate with. But you look at all these other, and like the random ones, there was like Kenya was another country that was just as high as the US. Like Kenyans love Israel. It's very interesting. But then you look at so many other countries on this list, and it's so depressing that they all hate Israel. And these are not just government officials. These are human beings that just live in the country and take in news and take in TikToks and take in everything else. They all hate Israel. So I hear what you're saying, that I'm hoping it's just an online thing, but when we're in the US, we're in probably, as a we're probably a close second to Israel. Not even a close second. We're probably a second to Israel in terms of being safe, that we can feel safe as Jews. Yes, these three things happened, but I would still rather be here than be in another country, especially when I look at a list like this that is horrifying. And it just scares me because it's, again, I will never ever believe it's just about the country of Israel.
Of course not.
So that freaked me the fuck out. And especially because we had that conversation on last week's podcast about online versus real life and all
Yeah.
these comments. I saw that and my heart sunk because I knew that. I knew it was something,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize until I saw data and saw an actual, study being done. It's just it's heart wrenching.
I think that you know, it's a bad moment in time for the PR world of Israel right now. Like Israel is getting horrible, horrible PR. That's the truth.
Yeah,
And I wish Israel did show video of what happened on October 7th. I wish they released that full video of exactly what happened. I know Israel doesn't want to release the full video of October 7th and like all the full accounts. I wish we could let journalists into Gaza. I mean, I wish we could see a little bit more into what exactly is happening so we didn't rely on the Gaza Health Ministry for
I know.
numbers. I got into it with Katie Couric on a DM. Katie Couric has totally turned on Israel, by the
Right,
way. She's been the most disappointing. So many journalists have been disappointing in this experience, by the way.
right.
I can't watch CNN
I know.
anymore. CNN is unwatchable if you care about Israel. It's like so crazy. I don't know if you felt this, but on October 7th, the day of, I turn on CNN. I watch CNN from morning till night on October 7th. I watched CNN on October 10th, October 15th. Those first few weeks, Anderson Cooper was in Israel. Like I
Mhm.
was watching CNN. Like that was my news. And slowly, slowly, CNN stopped peddling anything of Israel, like I felt like slowly it was peddling pro Gaza, pro Hamas
Hmm.
content, and now it literally parrots like the BBC. All of that same, like it's New York Times. Like it was the same as, saying that Israel was bombing the hospital before it was clearing up those
Hmm.
reports. It was saying that Israel was killing all these people in the lines at the for
Hmm.
the aid distribution. I'm like, CNN is totally doesn't have Israel's back at all.
Hmm.
Um, thank God on CNN when that Abby Phillips hour, when they have, if you
Yeah.
ever watch it, thank God for people like Scott Jennings who wears his yellow hostage
Yeah.
pin and stands up for us. And there's a few people that stand up for Israel.
Van
But
Jones.
what?
Van Jones.
Van Jones stands up for Israel. There's a woman, Batia, that comes on there and stands up for Israel. And there's another man that was on there the other night who was talking about how Ilhan Omar like hates Israel and should not be in Congress. And he was wonderful. There's some great people, but like in general, I never. Oh, Dana Bash is great there
Dana
on
Bash, of
CNN.
course.
Um, I don't see a lot of Israel support on CNN at all. MSNBC, what? Rachel
Oh,
Maddow did
never.
not.
Yeah, I never even tuned into
Me
MSNBC.
either.
I
But
never.
I hear. I don't even watch. Rachel Maddow the day after or the day of. I think it was the night of the Colorado bombing, firebomb
Right.
incident. She didn't talk about it.
Or
You
she
know what she
didn't.
talked about the night of?
What?
No, you know what her story was after the firebombing incident?
What?
And it was either after the Colorado incident or of the murder of the two Jews in the at the Jewish event. The big story one of those days was not she didn't cover it at all. She covered Donald Trump and ICE.
Of course she did, because
It's
that's their
crazy.
MO. I know.
So anyone that's watching MSNBC, you think that fascism is the worst thing that's happening in America, but anti-Semitism and the attack on Jews is not even in your mind, and people are dying.
I know. And like for that, like I'm not by any means a lover of Fox News, but after when that happened, the first network that I turned on was Fox News.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you have to understand that the media is effing Israel over.
Of course, of course. I
So
think
you
it's a
wonder why these countries hate Israel is because the media hates Israel.
right.
Why? I just don't get it. Like
I
I
don't know.
wish I knew the real reason.
I I don't know. I don't know. And it's super annoying and frustrating. And I don't even think it's just the news. I think when we look back at this, it's a combination of the media and as much as I hate to say it because I do like social media, it's social media too. A lot of these things that get flown around, everybody's algorithm on TikTok, they're not always going to be news feeds. There's going to be just different things that are coming from other people who live in Palestine. There could, I've heard all these things about people passing around videos that they say happened in Palestine, but it was like filmed from a different war that happened 10
It
years
was
ago.
in Syria.
Right. So it's like, this is the type of shit. It's a combination between them.
Or
Anyway,
AI also, by the way,
the
now.
AI thing is ridiculous.
Okay, well, anyway, horrible, horrible things, and we can only just pray that things like this or don't become the norm. It
Yeah.
can't be the norm.
Agreed.
Um, hopefully more people have more moral clarity.
Yeah.
Now, we did have one musician finally have a little bit of that. So, explain what
Yeah.
happened. Finally, someone spoke
So
with moral clarity.
I am, so we talk about Dave Matthews a lot, and he's not the one that had more clarity, by the way. I'm starting off with that. But if I had to pick like a second favorite band, it's going to be Radiohead. I've seen Radiohead probably around 10 times. The first time I saw them was in Italy in 2001. It was a religious experience. Thom Yorke and that whole group is just amazing. And it's been interesting because Thom Yorke has been, and the band in general, has been a big proponent for Israel in general. They have continued to play concerts in Israel for the last few decades, even though douchebag Roger Waters continues to say, hey, Thom Yorke, take your band away from playing from Israel. You shouldn't be playing Israel. And he always fires back Thom Yorke. It's like, mind your own fucking business. This is Israel. This is not a bad country. So I guess what happened was on stage, and Thom Yorke has been doing kind of some solo stuff over the last few months to years. And he's been doing some concert stuff. And he was at one of his concerts. And during these shows, he continuously gets yelled at about Free Palestine. And if you go on his feed, it's always about Free Palestine. People are yelling at him that he's not talking enough against Israel. So he got yelled at again, and it was caught on tape during one of his shows. They're caught on tape. I don't know if it's like a tape anymore. Someone recorded it. Again, I'm old. What do you want from me?
It's caught on VHS.
Caught on VHS. Someone brought their camcorder. Big camcorder. And he felt that he finally needed to address everything in terms of his feelings towards Israel. And I thought what he did was say such an amazing statement. It's so eloquently. This man, I don't know if you've listened to his music. He is brilliant. He's very, I'm not going to say his music's for everyone because a lot of it's very out there, but it's very complex and it's brilliant. And the way he spoke about this was brilliant as well. And it was something, Cliff Notes, and I can share it when we, a couple of clips, but he basically was saying, yes, he has an issue with the Israeli government. He has an issue with Netanyahu, which, by the way, a lot of us can say. A lot of American Jews say that. A lot of Israeli Jews say that. They have a problem with it. But where the fuck are the hostages is pretty much what he said. He's like, I understand. I don't love what the government's doing. But where are these hostages? Why can't we talk about the hostages? And just hearing that from somebody who is, I talk about music a lot on this podcast. So to hear something like that from somebody who I absolutely adore was such a breath of fresh air. And I remember I shared it to you right away. I put it on our Instagram channel. I started sharing it with everyone. And it was amazing. Now, of course, there's always douchebaggery that happens when this goes down, that you look at comments and everything. And the Free Palestine movement was super pissed about this statement.
God forbid.
Super
talk about
pissed.
Hostages.
And not condemning Israel. Yes, you're condemning a government, but you're not condemning the Israel and calling for a free Palestine and saying you're not saying from the river to the sea. You're not doing everything they want you to do. And you know why? Because he's his own fucking human being. He knows about Israel. He's played there enough.
He doesn't want to eradicate Israel.
No, of course not. One of his band members is married to an Israeli.
He likes Israel.
Yes. It's like what you said. Why does the media hate Israel so much?
It's so weird.
When you can have someone like Thom Yorke, who has actually been to Israel and has performed there and knows actual Israelis and can go and say, what are you guys fucking talking about? You guys are insane. I can talk about the government and talk about what I believe is wrong with what Netanyahu is doing, but I can also say that Israel's a great country. I will continue playing here and bring back those fucking hostages because this is enough. So I thought, to me, that really touched a great spot, and I was very, very happy to see that.
What spot did it touch?
Oh, you've touched that spot before many times.
Adam.
Oh shit. Sorry.
We haven't talked about when we were 16.
Oh, well, maybe next week we will.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad we were able to end this crazy episode on a positive.
Yes.
Thank you, Thom. And thank you to anyone that is willing to speak out for the Jews and for Israel, especially if you are not Jewish. We need allies, and you will expect to get a pushback. But the best thing you can do is just laugh at them and say bot. That's what I do. I go bot. Ha ha ha.
I think I saw you do that today.
I was called a goblin today by someone. You look like a Jewish goblin. I'm like, what a hot goblin that must be. She's so hot.
Hot Goblin.
Hot Goblin coming to theaters near you. Um, just you and me. Make sure to subscribe, follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a review, a 5-star rating,
Yes.
and tell your friends, tell your parents.
Please tell your parents. My dad loves the show.
Oh my God, I love
Loves the show.
that.
Yes.
Oh, well, we've got to get Foot Guy on here.
Yes, we got to get Foot Guy. Well, me and Foot Guy are going to see Douglas Murray.
You're going with him.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out who I should go with. I'm
So
going with
maybe
Foot
he can
Guy.
come on and give a review.
It's not a bad idea. We should figure that
I
out. Actually.
would love it.
Great. Let's do it.
Okay, amazing. Well, I'll see you next week. And that's it.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.